I bet you are the kind of person that puts something like this on your belt, in your pants, in your purse, in your briefcase, on your body as you go out in the world. And it's not because you like this thing. It's not because you want to feel it tugging on your belt. It's because you understand that it is your responsibility to get home to your kids. It's your responsibility to have an answer should evil visit. It's your responsibility in the immediate, in the vicinity that you're in, to be able to do the right thing and stop violence. This is Mickey with CarryTrainer.com. First of all, if you carry, I applaud you. That makes you a very different sort of individual. It makes you the kind of person that says, you know what? I'm not going to go out easy. I'm not going to just let the things in this world that want to hurt me or hurt mine or hurt innocent people, I'm not going to let it happen. In fact, I'm going to have an answer, which is immediate counter violence, righteous counter violence, which we'll talk about. So the video today is going to be, what should you be training? What are the things that you should be good at? You've made the choice, you've got that firearm, maybe you've got some training, but what do you have to be good at? What are the things that I can't fail at? So somebody sent me a video today. It was a dude, sounded intelligent enough, giving a presentation to what I perceive to be a church security or a group of people studying church security, armed people at churches. And as he's talking, he says, the thing I want you guys good at is a bill drill. And he goes on to loosely explain a bill drill. I go over to the comments, and I'll talk about a bill drill in a minute. And in the comments, I see, that's great, that's cool. How stupid, I would never fire 6 rounds, which is the prescribed round count for a bill drill. I'd fire 2 and I'd reassess. Well, that's not a bill drill, is it, commenter? The drill is not fire 2 and assess. The drill is 6 rounds. Let's go back a sec. Bill drill. Bill Wilson Combat. It wasn't too long ago. So back in the 90s, I had friends. I was fairly young at the time, but I got into IDPA. The International Defensive Pistol Association. IDPA was a offshoot of things like IPSC and USPSA. In fact, it came about because guys said that IPSC was getting too gamey. And so dudes wanted to train in what they felt to be more real life scenarios, cover garments and things like that. I'm not making a claim or discussion point on which of these skill sets or sports is better. But guys like Bill Wilson, Ken Hackathorn, Mas Ayub, Cameron Hopkins from Supervel Ammunition, and others were dudes that were instrumental in bringing about this new sport. Bill, who is a famous gunsmith and a great shooter, created this drill as a very basic standard. Hey, right now, today, if you walk to the 7-yard line, because that's where it was supposed to be, and you had an IPSC target out there, an IPSC A zone, which is about 6 inches by 11 inches-ish, and at 7 yards, 21 feet, on the buzzer of a shot timer, Drew presented your pistol and delivered 6 hits. How long would it take? And they all need to be hits to count. So when people shoot these drills and they miss, well, you failed the exercise. So if it takes you 5 seconds and you miss half the rounds, you failed. You didn't complete the bill drill. So we must first understand, when we design a drill or we practice a drill, what is it for? A drill is either testing something or teaching something. And when we think about drilling something, let's think about, high school wrestling, right? There's an old adage in the grappling arts that drillers are killers. And what that meant is the boys that got on the mats and they drilled the same things over and over, caveat, drilled them correctly, over and over and over, these foundational skills of wrestling: base, posture, movement, right? Balance, speed, precision with how the attacks and feints are applied to their match, usually end up winning because they have drilled these things to a point that they are subconscious and it's really hard to beat. Who else is good at this stuff? Oh, guys like Michael Jordan and other such great athletes. Often, we go to the range, and it looks something like this. We put a piece of cardboard up, and maybe it's a pizza box tacked to a fence post or something like that. And we walk back to a table or a shooting bench, and we grab our pistol, and we load it up, and we go bang, bang. And we look and we see what we're doing out there, and that doesn't look so good. And we go bang, bang. And then we maybe load a new magazine in and we go, and we dump a mag and we take our phone and we hold our gun up and we take a selfie and look, we're out on the range. We're training hard. We're second amending. I'm making that up. That's not training. That's plinking. That's playing. So what things do you need to be good at? All right. We always have to start with this. What problem am I trying to solve? When I arm myself, when I decide to put a gun on me, I'm not doing it like we said at the beginning of the video for fun or comfort or anything like that. I'm doing it to solve a problem. I have a pickup truck. In that truck, I have tools. I have jumper cables. I have battery boxes to jump in case the jumper cables or I don't have a jump vehicle. I've got tow straps and tow chains and anchor points and all of these different things, right? Why? To solve various problems. The jumper cables don't help me if I need a tow strap, and a tow strap doesn't help me if I need jumper cables. A specific tool for a specific problem. So for years and years and years, we've discussed what's the best firearm, what's the best round, what's the best sighting system, what's the best holster. And most of us can agree that you want a very durable, high quality, accurate, duty caliber. So usually that's 9mm and above. And we're not going to talk in the weeds on that. There's plenty of videos on this channel and others on that. So let's just say you've got that firearm. First thing you need to do is be able to carry it safely. And by safely, I mean it needs to stay on your body. So this is a rig I carry. This is a Glock 48 from Boresight Solutions. It's got Ameriglow sights on it. I'm carrying this right now in a Dark Star Gear holster. There's other good holsters out there, but this one I really appreciate. I've got a Tenacor outside the waistband holster that I like to carry it on. You'll notice there's no dot on here, and we can talk about that. I've got some Tango down parts on here, like the extended slide lock lever, and I am carrying Super Vel's solid copper hollow points. All very tested stuff. So I've got this thing in a holster that completely covers the trigger guard. I've got it in a way that it's secured and it won't fall out should I have to move myself over a fence, climb underneath something, grapple around on the ground, etc. So I want to have it in a manner that I can actually fight with it, right? Because that's what we're doing. We're fighting now if I'm having to use this thing. Well, I've got to be able to get it up and out of the holster. So I'm going to get this firearm broken down so that I can just use the slide or the frame. And there's nobody else in here, nobody behind the camera, but I'm just going to use the grip. So I need to be able to get that gun up and out from wherever it is, out of the holster and onto targets quickly. Here's where things get subjective. What's quickly? Well, the gentleman in the video that I started talking about said that you ought to be able to run a bill drill sub 2 seconds. Well, newsflash, that's really fast. I've done it. I've done it with big guns and little guns, and you could do it too. And I don't think it's a bad goal, but you're not going to die if you can't do that. In fact, that standard is a standard for very high level shooters, like grandmaster level shooters. That's like a standard that like a major league all-star would be able to do in the shooting sports. And you could too. You could really hone in on this one skill, which requires a quick draw stroke, getting that gun up into your eye line quickly with a positive grip behind the gun, controlling recoil, and driving the rounds into the target. There's a lot of caveats to that, and it becomes what my friend Les Keys Martoni, who was a national champion shooter through IDPA, world-class dude. Les would call it a parlor trick, and what he meant by that is you can get really good, kind of like shooting free throws or something, at doing this one thing over and over again. But if a tiny parameter is changed, distance, lighting, etc., the things fall apart on you. So bill drill is very good because it illustrates a lot of stuff to the individual. So if you go to the range yourself and you can't hit the A zone reliably, don't spray all your ammo into the berm. Do work on 1 or 2 shots. I like 2 shots from the holster. And we'll just stick with Bill's thought process on this until you can reliably hit it. Why did Bill think that was important? Because it tested a draw stroke, the grip, sight alignment, sight picture, trigger press, recoil control, working with the recoil, and follow-up shots. By the time you put 6 in, more isn't going to be, you're not teaching yourself anything else, much less, and you don't get those follow-up shots where maybe fatigue or some weakness in your base or posture wouldn't be illustrated. All that being said, I think often in this space, we spend a lot of time chasing rabbit holes. I'm looking over here at some challenge coins and things that I've been given from classes. Those are nice things, but a challenge coin doesn't save you, right? A little trophy or a patch doesn't save you. The application of force applied in a timely manner with haste, right, is what will save you. Rapid application of violence. So I need to be able to train with this thing starting every day with putting it in the same spot on my body. Don't change. If you change, have a reason. If it's carried on the hip, carry it on the hip. If it's carried in the appendix, carry it in the appendix. If it's carried in an off-body bag, carry it there and train. You get good through that process of training over and over. If you start moving things around, you are hindering and hampering and putting a hurdle in front of yourself that doesn't need to be there. I talk about this in every class. The famous holster maker, John Bianchi, his company became Safari Land. John said, one gun, one holster all the time. And he wasn't saying don't have other guns. In fact, he, like me, probably had cabinets full of them. By the way, these are from Securit, top-notch product. We'll talk about those in another video. Don't create a situation where you are forcing yourself to have to work through hurdles. Give yourself the best opportunity. So put the gun in the same spot every time. Get dry fire reps in, clearing that gun from the holster and pointing it clearly in a safe manner where you've got the gun unloaded, nobody in front of the muzzle, not pointing it through a window at the neighbor's house. All the things that we're talking about need to be done in a safe manner. I think that we should be capable of hitting something the size of a pack of playing cards, 30 feet and in, no problem. That's 10 yards. You should be able to do that on demand. Pack of playing cards, no problem. I think something like this box of Supervel, which is probably 2.5 inches by 2 inches, you should be able to hit that 30 feet and in. That's not a hard shot. In fact, you should be able to hit it farther, but I'm giving you some parameters. I think you should be able to hit a piece of printer paper, 8.5 by 11, 50 yards and in. Well, hell, I can't even see that far. Now, before you start arguing, most fights never happen at, we're not talking about any of those things. And herein lies the problem as we discuss these things like that commenter did. He said, well, I wouldn't do that drill, I'd do this drill. He never understood the parameter of either drill based on what he said and how he said it. The reason that I would try to form the ability to hit this 50 yards and in is it gives me a quantifiable baseline that I can track. If I miss it, well, I got to figure that out. If I can always hit it at 30, but I can't hit it at 40, well, I'm going to work on it at 30, 35, and 40. I'm not going to go to 50. If I can only hit it at 10, I'm not going to go to 50. So I'm going to use it as a metric. It's a standard. It's a baseline that you can track yourself. If I can hit this all the time at 50 yards, we'll cut that paper in half. We do this all the time in class. Now you've just halved your target, doubled down on your training, and you're basically going to start anew. Guess what you can do when you can do that? Yep. Now you can cut it in half again and again, so on and so forth. We need to track our experience in our training with something that we call a notebook. You can also use a Word document or something else. Go to the range and track what you're doing. My mentor, one of my mentors, coaches, famous shooter, 6-time national champ. His name's Bob Housingay. I've got a beautiful 10 millimeter that Bob built me years ago. Bob would say at classes, start and end all training with accuracy. So there's this current thing about just going fast. I'm not having any issue with going fast, but if I cannot exhibit marksmanship fundamentals with my firearm, going fast is going stupid. I must always be capable of extreme accuracy. The art of the pistol, the art of the rifle require us to be able to get hits at whatever distance it is capable of getting the result that we want. What do I mean by that? Well, a 9 millimeter, technically you could stop somebody at 100 yards. Whether or not that's ethical or legal or required is something completely different. But if it's inside of the capacity of the firearm and you think that you might have to do it, maybe you should train it. So I think 30 yards and in, you should be able to hit small targets on demand. In what kind of a time frame? I think that 10 yards, you should be able to hit that A zone twice in 2 seconds at 10 yards. So you should be able to draw, hit, hit. Eventually, you'll be able to hit something the size of a playing card at that distance twice in 2 seconds. It requires isolated work, and you can do most of that in dry fire. Figuring out how to grip, present the pistol, and I've done tons of videos on all of these topics. What I'm talking about today isn't how to hold the gun or how to see the sights, but the things that you ought to be good at. This idea of movement or moving to cover, away from cover, all of those things are great and they're worth tons of consideration, but none of those things change the dynamic of shooting. When you're shooting, you're shooting. If your feet are moving, if your feet are not moving, if you're on the ground, if you're hiding behind something, shooting around something, shooting is still shooting. Regardless of all the other factors that the world, the universe, or I myself, or a game have added into the mix, where the gun comes up into the eye line and the shot has to be made, the shooting part is still shooting. So here's my challenge to all of us today. Make accuracy the highest part of your training. Never allow yourself to exhibit a low standard for accuracy. Something that we do in all of our classes is we take a 7/8 of an inch target paster, and at 5 yards, I make sure every student can hit that little tiny target paster. And now some people say that's a waste of time. No, it's not a waste of time. What it shows you is sight alignment, sight picture, trigger press, grip, those fundamentals of the firearm. And when I can exhibit it at 5 yards, I can do it at 50. If I can hit a target paster at 5 yards, I can hit this, and look what that looks like. I can hit that at 50. Your argument of I'd never shoot that far isn't the point. I want to get really good where I know if this thing is needing to come out, I'm not worried about can I get the job done. I'm not thinking about that. Instead, my brain is focused on the task at hand. What's the problem? Where do I need to apply rounds? Where are people that shouldn't be shot? Where are backstops? Does he have any friends? Am I injured? Where's my people? Can I call 911 now? Has somebody else already called? I can start processing those things. And that was in no certain order. Not, holy crap, can I get this done? That part needs to be ingrained in your heart, mind, spirit, soul, etc. Like when you get in your truck in the morning or your car and turn on the keys, you're not thinking about, do I have to push the brake to stop? Which pedal is that, right? All of that is happening at a deeply subconscious level. You understand how to operate your vehicle and get yourself through traffic to work, wherever you're going. I need to be able to do the exact same thing with the firearm. So what you should be training is hits on target, on demand, at any time possible. Start shrinking the time that it takes to do that until you can do it quick. All of you are capable of 2 hits on an A zone in 2 seconds or less at 10 yards. All of you are. Then we can work down farther from there. Some of you are going to blast that 1 second barrier. I've seen guys put 3 rounds onto a target in a second. You are the kind of guy, some of you, that can do that. Is that going to save your life better than 2 rounds in a second? Probably not. You reach a point of diminishing return. It's fun. It's super cool. I mean, it looks awesome. It's empowering. If I can shoot that quickly and accurately, now when I, in my time, when I'm in control of the situation, decide to bring that gun up and I get a sight picture and do what needs doing, if I slow it down by a second or two, boy, it feels like you got all the time in the world. And you can test that with your shot timer. Guys, I hope this conversation helped. When you're listening to people, when you're reading about exercises and drills, understand the exercise or the drill is not an exact execution of how to fight, just like shadow boxing, just like a takedown exercise. It is oftentimes done to either ingrain a proper habit or technique, or 2, test the existence or lack thereof of a proper habit or technique. See, if the bill drill, 2 seconds is the par time, if we make it that, at 7 yards with 6 rounds. If we create that parameter and you can't do it but in 10 seconds, then we know that we've got some things to work on. First shot, follow-up shots, etc. If they're all misses, well, then we're working on accuracy. If you're right there at the ragged edge, then we're going to look at the ragged edge of where we can pick up time. Does this make sense? Understand why drills are created. I hope that this conversation helps spur some thought as to how you can sharpen the sword, and I hope you never need it. The world has always been a violent place. Go back to the good book, open up Genesis, and you will see the story where two brothers fought and one caved the other's head in. That story got put down in the book because it mattered. Violence is as old as we are. It's our job to be aware. That is the first thing that gives us a chance. Without awareness, we cannot win, and it's up to you to pay attention. The more attention that you give to the things in your surroundings, the things in your environment, the better the opportunity of you coming out ahead. Be well, don't be dickheads. Tell somebody that you love them. Christmas is coming, and if you watch this after Christmas, it's always a good time to tell somebody you love them. Give the people that you care about a big hug and let them know we're not here forever. And it is important that we support the people that we love and care about. Don't just think it, let them know. Be well. Don't be dickheads. I love you. I hope to see you guys in class. If you haven't checked out Super Val ammunition, my preferred ammunition, please do. Stuff is top notch. And if you have not checked out Gunfighter Gun Oil, this is our brand. We make it right here. Top-notch stuff. Google it up. You will see that it is now rated the #1 firearm lubricant in America. I'm really proud of that. Well done to my nephew for working so hard. And then please do check out our brand, Ignis Lux Coffee. This is the hot rod blend, named for Bennett's father, we lost a few years ago, who loved to build hot rods. That's actually his car right there. My nephew Kanan made this cool label. We roast this stuff in-house. Super low acid, delicious coffee made by us for you. See you guys soon. Peace.